time for Ohio State basketball. The Buckeyes are preparing for battle, and you're preparing to listen to them. Equally important, this is the Fan Warmup Show.
Presented by the Ohio State Army ROTC. Designed to lead today.
Happy college basketball Wednesday evening, everyone. Ohio State and Iowa coming up here at 9 o'clock, depending on the earlier game in the Big Ten schedule. We've got the Buckeyes and the Hawkeyes squaring off this evening. Both teams come into the game 9-7 in the Big Ten standings. It is the 173rd all-time meeting between Ohio State and Iowa. The series is tied 86-86, and no bigger one has probably taken place than tonight in Iowa City. I am Brandon Beam. Jacob Reimer is behind the glass here this evening. Let's go back through the last week for Ohio State, shall we? Because it was a great win that you had in the middle of the week last week against Wisconsin. Probably their most comprehensive victory of the season, 86-69 victors. You went on the road on Sunday, and it was a 66-60 loss against Michigan State, again, at the Breslin Center, a very tough place to play on the road, but it was a little bit surprising that Devin Royal did not play in that game. Amari Bynum got into foul trouble early, and all of a sudden it just seemed like nothing could go right for Ohio State's perspective, other than Bruce Thornton. Bruce Thornton has been terrific these last few games for the Buckeyes. So we'll see what happens tonight. Again, Ohio State versus Iowa coming up at 9 o'clock. Let's go back to that Michigan State game. Jacob, I know that obviously, we were looking at Amari Bynum going into that game, and I feel like we've said it so many times over the last few days going into that postgame show, on yesterday's show, on Buckeye Roundtable, that I feel like Amari Bynum picking up 2 fouls in that game early kind of derailed what we expected him to do in the surprising non-activation of Devin Royal last Sunday.
Yeah, and it sounded like Bynum was kind of a part of that sickness that's going around. I don't think he was that shoot-around on Saturday, but he went through warm-ups and gave it a go, and so I don't know if that maybe caused those early 2 fouls, maybe a little bit sluggish, but still, like that, I feel like I'm right there with you. It definitely didn't allow him to get into a rhythm, and it was a game that, especially when you don't have Devin Royal, you don't have John Mobley Jr., that somebody has to step up. Tayson Chapman, he had some moments, but still wasn't what we've seen from him as of late, and I turned immediately to Amari Bynum, as if you just don't have a goose egg in the box score, then you're going to have a shot right there at the end, and they still very much did, and if he's giving you what he was coming into that game, you maybe pull out that win.
Not an easy place to go in late February, early March either, to East Lansing. So we'll see what happens tonight. Bruce Thornton has been terrific over the last few games for Ohio State, really all season, right? I mean, he's chasing history and trying to track down the number one scorer all-time in Ohio State history. He was named Big Ten Player of the Week in his performances against 24 Wisconsin and Michigan State. In those last 2 games, he was averaging 29 points, 6 rebounds, and 4.3 assists during his last week of play, which is nothing short of tremendous. Now, he's going to need some help tonight. Interesting from an Ohio State perspective, because we did get the injury report, the availability report a few hours ago. John Mobley Jr. questionable, which I would assume that he's going to be good to go. Devin Royal not mentioned. Amari Bynum not mentioned, although Christoph Tilley is on the injury report tonight, and he is in fact out. I don't know what Jake Diebler and company are going to do with this starting lineup. Jacob, I know that you and I talked a couple hours ago about this starting 5 for Ohio State. I don't know if that's going to be Amari at the 5, Devin at the 4, Puff at the 3, Junie at the 2, Bruce at the 1. How you're going to navigate that. But Christoph Tilley being a surprise out inactive this evening, I think kind of muddies the water a little bit for the Buckeyes.
Yeah, absolutely does, and I feel like he's given you some solid minutes as of late from what you can get from him. He's shown some good moments, but I feel like the small ball lineup that they've gone with at times has been really effective, where they've gone with a Bruce and a Junie, and then a Puff and then Devin, like you just mentioned, and Amari at the center. When we've seen that in little spurts this year, it's been pretty effective. Like it presents some matchup problems, because then you're forcing a big to guard Amari Bynum on the perimeter, and he's
He's a nightmare.
For how big he is abnormally quick. Like it's unreal. So that can be a matchup problem for sure.
Let me ask you this question: if you were guarding Amari Bynum and he was set up behind the 3-point line, are you digging down into the post, or are you going out to guard him with a hand up?
I think I'm going to sag off just a little bit and prepare to try to take a charge unless he puts me through the floor, I think.
Yeah, and you know what? He would get you into a spin cycle, and he would dunk over you
Probably.
no matter what. We got the Buckeyes and Hawkeyes coming up tonight from Carver Hawkeye Arena. Let's head there right now and check in with our great friend Ron Stokes.
It's time to go inside the Buckeyes with OSU basketball analyst and former captain Ron Stokes.
Ron, thanks for the time. Always appreciate it. Happy Wednesday for you. Hopefully you and Paul and Skip have had a great time over there in Iowa City. Can you set the lineups for us, Ron? What do you think it's going to be come here an hour away from right now?
Well, clearly this front line isn't what you would see, and when you place an Illinois or a Michigan State, and obviously when you look at Iowa, you start with Bennett Sturts. He's the guy that really leads this team, and what a addition for them on this squad. But when you look at Ohio State not having Tilly tonight, I do like the fact that they can play small. They've shown that they can. With a healthy Devin Royal, I think that's going to clearly give them a boost tonight. They clearly missed him in the last ball game. I really thought that he would have done well against the front line of Michigan State, similar to what he did to Wisconsin. But I don't think, obviously not having Tilly is going to hurt them, but I don't think it's as major as you would think, because Ohio State was going to play small at times during this game anyway. So clearly Amari Bynum has got to play better. And then having Devin Royal in the lineup is definitely going to be a big-time boost.
Ron, after you guys signed off on Sunday against Michigan State, we had Jamal Walker on, and I asked him about kind of the improvement of Ivan Yagovin. And again, I don't think anybody's confusing him for an all-conference player, but I think you can see the steps in his improvement from 1 month ago until now. He was not out of his element. I thought he gave you something offensively on Sunday against Michigan State. What are you expecting out of him tonight if he's able to get into the ball game?
Well, the biggest thing, he may start tonight, but I think the biggest thing is he's just got to be consistent, understand what his strengths are. And he is 7'2", and there's an ability to alter shots. I think he needs to be better than that, needs to be more physical. There's times when he was pushed under the basket and led to second opportunities for Michigan State. But he's growing. He's a sophomore. He's a young player. But I do think in the last couple of games he's been really, really good. Had six points against Michigan State. Last 4 games averaging just over 4 rebounds per game. So that's been solid. So I just think he just needs to understand his role, come in and be effective, whether that's for 4 minutes or for 14. And he has shown signs. But they're definitely going to need him tonight to bring some type of defensive presence in the middle.
What's Ohio State going to need out of Bruce Thornton tonight, Ron? Obviously, the last week for him, 3 games, has been nothing short of terrific. I think the only players maybe in college basketball history, or at least since 2000, with 30 seasons, the last 30 seasons, so back to 1996, 25 points plus, or to have fewer than 2 turnovers in a game in a 3-game stretch against AP top 25 players. It's Steph Curry in the 2008 NCAA tournament, and then it's also Bruce Thornton. So is he putting the Superman cape back on tonight?
Well, you asked me what does Bruce Thornton needs to do. I don't think Bruce Thornton needs to do anything but just be him. I think the biggest thing is he needs some help, consistent help. And a lot of this has to be with injuries. John Mobley Jr., it's first game since USC, and he had a stretch, as you know, during that really good portion of the season at 20-plus point games in a row, 4 of them in a row. And then, him being out these last few games has clearly put more pressure on Bruce Thornton. He's easier to try to defend when you don't have a weapon. You think about the last game against Michigan State. There were times when Bruce Thornton was out on the floor with 4 players that were averaging less than 5 points per game. And so when you're trying to defend him, it's a little easier when there's not as many threats out there. So he's going to get some help tonight with John Mobley Jr. and Devin Royal back in the lineup.
Ron, did you keep Paul and Skip in check last night in Iowa City?
Of course.
Okay.
We had a great time last night.
I'm just asking if you guys were all right. That's all.
Hey, we've been doing this for a while. We got a steady plan. We get here, we eat, we go to bed, and then we do our normal stuff. And here we are, looking forward to a 9+ whatever the start is tonight, and a nice arrival sometime around 2:30 plus in the a.m.
I was going to say 9:18. Who knows? Skip's going to freak
Whatever
out
it
about the
may
TV
be.
start time. It's all
Hey,
going to be
but
good.
it's the way it is, right? We need a win. First, we got an opportunity to get a quad one win, right? So let's try to get that and have a nice, pleasant ride home back to Columbus.
Ron, always appreciate the time. We will talk to you Sunday back at the friendly confines of the Shot, all right?
All right, go Bucks.
There goes Ron Stokes, everybody. You can listen to more of him. Paul Keel, Skip Mossick. They're going to be taking you through the evening. Reimer and I will be back for postgame. Everybody enjoy. Buckeyes, Hawkeyes, up next right here on The Fan.
You've been listening to the Fan Warm-Up Show.
Presented by the Ohio State Army, ROTC. Decide to lead today.
Stay tuned for Buckeye basketball on your flagship home for Ohio.